Look, Die. All I'm saying is, it's not creepy for old men to play with dolls. It's perfectly normal.
Yeah, but I think the octopus dolls are kind of creepy.
Are they creepy? Or is Mayuri's weird baby Bankai creepy?
Yes.
Okay, so we finally reached this point, the Bount arc, which, researching it, I see there are some people who actually really do like this arc, and then there are some who are just mad that it's filler, because all filler is bad, guys! Yep, every single filler in existence is evil, it doesn't matter what it is. That's why the original FMA is complete trash, right?
Yes, that's why everybody. That's why everybody is jacking off to. Oh look, babies being out of fighters. It's so cool.
Yeah, even though GT is basically filler if you think about it. Well, so the Bount arc. Episodes 64 to 91 are in this portion, which means we got a lot to get through. First, it should be noted that Kubo did oversee a lot of this arc and approve of what they did to it, which might explain why some of this arc feels a little mispaced at times, because I'm guessing he stepped in and said, no, you're not doing that.
No, don't do that.
But first, before the Bount arc, we have the Monster arc. I hate this arc, and that's all that needs to be said about it. Alright, you ready to move on to the Bount arc now?
Are you sure that's all you have to say about it?
Fine. We'll talk about the stupid fucking Monster arc. Honestly, the first episode of it does work decently.
Yeah. Hey, what's better than one cone?
4 cones, although to be honest, only a couple of them are grading, since one of them doesn't really talk that much. We'll get to that.
You mean the only useful one?
So,
we'll also get to that.
Episode opens, with Ichigo and all them back home, and it honestly is an okay setup with the slice of life stuff going on. Renji showing up to be the new Soul Reaper overseeing Karakuta Town. Because...
Which, you gotta ask, why? Is he the substitute?
Yeah, I thought that was the point of Ichigo, but Ichigo even makes a joke saying, wait, you're a lieutenant sent to a lowly town like this? You got demoted, bitch.
And besides that, isn't there the Afro guy too?
Yeah, which we did find out Afro Man is Keith Silverstein, so I guess that's a thing. But, doesn't matter, he's irrelevant. I don't even know the guy's name.
Trying to refer to him as Afro guy.
Yeah.
You should...
But, yeah, you get Renji showing up at Ichigo's school and being called Ichigo's brother. That's... Actually, I'm pretty sure they might keep that going forward, since Ichigo is here with Renji now. Yeah, this arc is kind of weird in how they take some things from the manga later on and put them in the middle of this filler arc too, to introduce them here instead, which I guess works. But hey, after the slice of life stuff and everything's cool and everyone's back from Soul Society, you get Orihime at the end of the episode at late at night alone, thinking about Rukia and her relationship with Byakuya and crying that she misses her Oni-chan too, and it makes you think, why is this something not explored more?
But no time for that. Time to get really silly if you take a second to think about it. Hit it.
Okay, so, wasted potentials aside, Orihime's brother arrives at her house, totally him, and basically abducts her. And she goes into a gate looking like the gates of hell, and that's how we end the first episode. Again, it works as a decent setup. It actually does. It's after this, though, where things turned really bad.
It's gonna get great!
Okay, so... upon Ichigo and Uryu, who, by the way, still isn't a Quincy anymore. Keep that in mind for the rest of this arc. And Renji and Chad all go investigate, and they get a strange call from someone that sounds very Wally-like, voiced by Julianne Taylor. You know, Tsubaki or Kokonoe from Blaze Blue.
Have to get Blaze Blue in there, don't you?
Of course I do. It's Blaze Blue.
Fine, if we're bringing up good fighting games, and what about Soul Calibur?
Okay, you hit that one. Then I'll one-up you.
What?
Yeah,
Everybody waffles Hilda from everyone waffles Hilda from Soul Calibur. For I don't know, they're really popular at Ford for some reason.
Hey, she's also Jaguar in Fate, Demonic Front Babylonia.
Yes, that character that the protag loved so much that they ignored their existence.
I guess she's also Jotaro's mom in Stardust Crusaders and Millie in Code Geass. Yeah. And she had fun voicing this role at least. She said she doesn't get to voice many Lolly roles at all, so good for her, I suppose. She also had fun doing the damn laugh, which is what this character does 90% of the time throughout this arc.
It's like you're watching One Piece.
Those characters do laugh a lot. So they make Ichigo and Renji and them do lots of menial tasks, like get to this payphone in 2 minutes. You know,
what is this, Die Hard?
Yes. That's fucking awesome. I mean, the comedy in this arc works. When Ichigo and Renji are racing to the park, and Renji's in his Soul Reaper form, Ichigo isn't, and he's yelling, "I'll get there before you, you'll never beat me!" And everyone's just staring at him, because it looks like he's shouting that to himself.
Yeah, stuff like that works.
Yeah, the comedy throughout this is fine.
Except when it isn't.
Well, we'll get to that. So, yeah, upon completing a lot of these tasks, it got really stupid really quickly. Orihime's returned, except not really. It's another culprit that's disguising themselves as Orihime, named Kuroto, voiced by Michael McConaughey, doing a very weird-ass voice. I don't know, you got anything for this one? Because I don't think I've ever heard him do a voice like this before. I guess not.
Yeah.
And they abduct Chad.
Not Chad.
But it's alright, because the hero has arrived to take his place. Cone. And Uryu, because he's a master at sewing, is able to clean him up and sew him better, since Yuzu tortured him or something during those one-off fillers. Doesn't he have that Quincy thing on the back of his head now? Cohen, I mean.
Ever since that got sewed on the back of his head in that next episode preview thing.
They kept it, yeah. So those post-episode preview things are canon, I guess.
Except for the ones that aren't.
And Cone's there because he can sense spiritual pressure. And they think he can detect them, since they go to Urahara's place and have him do some investigating, even have him record a phone call. And Urahara's like, wait, there's no Reishi similar print on this voice. Think of it like a fingerprint for voices, except we can't figure it out at all. This Reishi doesn't exist. The whole thing comes across like they're trying to imitate the whole, I don't know, stalker thing from a slasher flick. You even heard the music, didn't you?
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, threatening to kill Orihime and Chad if Ichigo and the others don't play along. Oh yeah, there's also a third one of these antags, Nova, who has the ability to manipulate space. Voiced by Chris Redfield, Boulder Puncher himself, Roger Craig Smith.
I mean, who he's voiced by is irrelevant.
Yeah, he barely talks.
He's one of those characters that can be voiced by anyone. That's how little he talks.
But Ichigo and them are forced to go to a museum coon now. And it's been warped with space. And illusions, because the lolly on the phone has the ability to do illusions. Also, her name is Lyrin, I guess. Let's just get through this. Museum, maze thing. Renji and Ichigo get into a fight, which somehow causes them to be able to solve it. It's all silly and over the top. I don't know, a lot of this could have worked if handled better. But it just comes across as stupid, especially after the Soul Society arc that we just came from.
It would have been a lot better handled if going into the Bount arc we would have got one-off Hollow of the Week type episodes instead.
We'll get to that too, because this arc introduces one of the dumbest plot points. But then, if you thought it wasn't slash or flick it off, they rescue Orihime and Chad from the museum just to find out one of them is an imposter, as Kuroto is shapeshifted to one of them, and they have to guess who it is at their school before people start disappearing, with Tatsuki being the first victim, and the scene even playing out like a slasher flick. It's all really silly, and if you love dumb shit, then you could get something out of it, but there's just no way to take this seriously. And man, does it keep up with that? Also, Yoruichi and Soifun are investigating, I guess, and I was a little off. Terrence Stone is still here as the cat for now, so I guess the cat's here for
even
this
though this
arc.
is filler, so you're not off.
Well, at least the Soifun fans are happy with her being in the world of the living, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, after finding the imposter, because it's Chad, because Yoruichi runs by during their school thing, and Chad is really frightened by this, and Chad ain't no pussy. So Ichigo's able to piece it
together. The window
together.
shatters in front of all of them.
Yeah, and Chad's frightened.
And Chad ain't no glass cannon.
That's when they prepare for the final game to save everyone against these three people, which you find out are mod souls, I guess. That's who. Hence the name, the mod soul arc.
Mm-hmm.
Where they realize they have 3 minutes, or I think it's 5 minutes actually, to save Chad, who's in an hourglass, or he's gonna become all sandy.
Yeah.
And Kuroto can imitate people's powers, and they claim he has all of their fighting technique and ability.
Yes.
You figured
sure
this would be useful later, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during the course of the fight, Ichigo tries going Bankai, and he can. But of course, they still manage to pull through anyway. Everything's okay, and Urahara shows up, explaining he was behind it all. Because that totally makes sense. That's why he was investigating the phone call, recording it, going on about how I could look deeper into this. Yoruichi, you investigate, because I don't understand this. And Yoruichi was playing along with him? I don't understand.
Except she was really investigating the balance.
Yeah.
The namesake of this arc as a whole.
It feels like this arc, the Monster arc ends.
Also, don't forget what Uhar said. Ichigo relies way too much on his Bankai.
Yeah, you can't just rush into battle whipping out your Bankai. You're in the world of the living where it's harder to control. He says that part, and then he says, after all, you're a substitute Soul Reaper. You need to stop relying on your Bankai so much. The Bankai that he's only used once. Maybe twice if he charged that Aizen with it before he got fingered.
He was still in Bonkai. He was
so
still
never
in
dropped out.
Bonkai.
Okay, so he never dropped out of it then. Okay. But yeah, it just comes across as really stupid and makes no sense.
And later on, it's going to even come across as even stupider because we're escalating the threat, so he's like always in Bonkai most of the time. Spoilers. If you haven't seen any shonen ever whatsoever.
Yeah, this would have come across better if, like Dai said earlier, Hollow of the Week, where Ichigo kept using his Bankai, abusing it, but it's not. He only used it the once against Byakuya and Aizen, hasn't used it since.
And he only used it in that thing as a last resort. He didn't immediately try to go Bankai in that fight, so it makes it come across as even dumber.
Yeah, well, apparently the 3 mod souls are also used as detectors for Bounce, which we'll get to that in a second. But Urahara explains that he used this as a training exercise to build teamwork with Renji, Chad, Orihime, and Uryu, who he explains no longer has his Quincy powers. Which, yeah, this is Uryu's whole motivation. He didn't tell anyone because he doesn't want to feel like a burden to everyone and feel useless.
Yeah. Yes, and we're exploring this plot point in a filler arc, keep in mind.
It feels like this mod soul arc was probably meant to go a little longer, like maybe 10 episodes instead of the 5 it was given, but then someone behind the scenes says, dude, we need more time. You're gonna have to find something to extend this by like another 30 episodes. So they just dropped the mod soul arc in favor of something more serious.
Yeah.
Or maybe Kubo himself pulled the plug on it, saying, this is stupid, come up with a serious threat to follow up my Soul Society arc. What, you got any other theories?
Yeah. No. Like
well,
I said, Hollow of the Week would have fit better.
You could probably skip this entire arc. All you need to know is there are 3 more mod souls now that are all going to inhabit stuffed animals too to help them with the bounce. That's all you need to know.
And at times they come, and a lot of the time they come across as grating.
Except Nova. He doesn't talk much. He's okay.
He's the only useful one. He's the only one that really utilizes his ability.
Now you might be wondering, can we skip this and just jump to canon material in the anime? These fuckers show up in canon material, so no, you really can't.
No. And they heavily reference the
Bount arc specifically,
the final battle.
We can finally get to the Bount arc, which honestly, for an introduction, it works really well, where Yoruichi and Soifone stumble upon a female Bount sucking out the soul of a poor plebeian.
Or trying to.
Yeah. This female Bount, Yoshino, voiced by Dorothy Fawn. Yeah, I guess she did get another character. So, good for her, I guess. If you want to know what the Bounts are, they're basically vampires. Or the closest you could get to a vamp in this universe.
They're vampires with an ever-changing backstory because it has writing on the fly syndrome. But we'll get to that.
Oh, now they're forced to investigate the Bounts. And... yeah... okay, where do we go from here? I guess we could start off with Uryu meeting a Bount friend. The other Bount, Rio, voiced by Tony Oliver. Yeah, he's finally here now.
Yeah. And that's all we gotta say about him.
But hey, Tony Oliver, you know who he's voiced by, or who he's also voiced?
Yeah.
He was Eric in God Eater, the main hero.
I can't believe that was a fucking reprisal.
I guess he's also Lupin and Lupin the Third too.
Yeah, who the hell knows about who this Lupin fellow is?
Oh, I mean, he's doing a unique voice for him, I guess, since he's trying to sound all aristocratic and upper class. Since the Bounts are trying to be high-class peeps or whatever.
Well, vampires, it's in the fucking thing.
Which is a good time to bring up the OST. Thankfully, we have new OST. Not that the old one was bad, but after 70 episodes, it needed a little bit of a break.
Does the OST have vampire in mind?
Yeah, a lot of the songs sound like, you know, that Bach composition everyone thinks is from Dracula.
Yeah, and sometimes it just comes across as a little silly.
I don't care. I like it. It's awesome. It sounds kind of like Castlevania music too. I'm all for it.
Yeah, sometimes they go really in. You come off of that to them doing the other stuff, and it's all over in a way.
I'm sure people are going to point out, you guys are skipping some stuff. It's because we have a lot of stuff to get through, so we're just going to cover the finer points. Like how the Bounts don't use Zanpakutos to fight, they use dollies. Okay, honestly, this doll concept does work and does feel kind of unique to them and gives them their own identity.
Yes. Because one of their first backstory identities is they are, I don't know, a different genetic strain that are essentially Quincy's.
Yeah, they're two sides of the same coin from the Quincy's, basically.
Hence why Uriel gets a lot of focus this arc.
So, you know, when they summon their doll, they shout Zygadik, which basically just means show yourself.
Except for the one that does
Except for the one Bount that just says show yourself in English anyways. Someone fucked up there. But yeah, so...
Maybe he's just an asshole.
So, and these dolls also have voices and can talk and interact and stuff, and you need a crest to summon them, making them, I guess, kind of like Digimon? That's right, we're bringing it back to Digimon.
Okay, let's update around the bush. Some of them are really essentially stands, like Yoshino's.
Yoshino's doll, Gerta, voiced by Patrick Seitz.
Pretty much doing his sloth voice from FMA.
Yeah, with a filter on. He's a fire monster!
Yeah.
And it's basically all there is to it, he's a fire monster.
What more do you want?
Tony Oliver or Rio's doll, which I wouldn't even remember this dick's name except his name is Rio, like the guy from Shenmue or Art of Fighting.
I see.
That is the only reason I remember his name. I'm serious. His doll Frida is a snake
that turns into that he can use as a whip and stuff and do other snake-like things with.
Yeah. Anything he puts his mind or thoughts towards will also turn into snakes. And she is voiced by Wendy Lee, because we can't have enough Wendy fucking Lee in this job.
I mean, at least it's harder to tell as them.
That's true. She is doing a filter.
And talking with the snake lisp.
Yeah. It should also be noted, Yoshino is... You've seen arguing with Rio because she's having a falling out with the Bounts. Because their leader is also here too. Giancardia, voiced by Troy Baker. Which, does he need any introduction?
Yes. Who the hell is this Troy Baker?
The only thing I could find is he voiced Action Bastard in Shin-Chan. That's all I got though. I don't think he's done anything else.
No.
Okay, fine. He's Joel from the game that is too good for us, that we must bask in the majesty of Last of Us 2.
Yes, just in Last of Us 2.
Yeah, but Di, you don't understand. That game is too good for us mere mortals.
Or he's in any game you've ever played, ever, in the past 10 years.
I mean, he's fucking Bruce Banner in that Marvel Avengers game. Wow, he was in a lot of shitty games last year. I'm not even being funny. Like, talk about being unlucky.
A paycheck is a paycheck.
Well, speaking of which, he actually really enjoyed voicing in the Bount arc, saying that he loved the gothic aesthetic and feel of the Bounts. Which, more power to him, I guess. It does make them stand out a lot more.
Yeah, gothic aesthetic, which is why it looks like which is why he's wearing what looks like a dress shirt with the color scheme of a track jacket.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Why not?
But Cardia
No, but it really does look like that.
Cardia and Yoshino had a falling out, and Uryu, of course, seeks out Yoshino after they meet up with Ryo, because Ryo apparently snaked him down. Or something. It's obviously more complex than that, but...
Snake.
Yeah. Monsters are here too, I guess, being useless as ever, just telling them, there's a Bount nearby! You gonna do anything else other than act stupid after that? Nope. There's even a scene where Riri makes a comment that she's only pretending to be stupid.
Pretending? Right.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about what stuffed animals they are real quick before moving on with the plot. So Riri's a bird! Or a chicken.
And a raincoat hoodie thing. I mean, they just call her a bird. It looks like a chicken-ish.
And
call it whatever you want.
She's the locator stuck with Ichigo. Nova is stuck with Chad. And what the fuck is Nova? I don't even know what that thing was.
It's like a praying mantis in a tuxedo.
And is doing a very quiet, monotone voice for him, too. I mean, there was a scene where Chad and Nova were just sitting there, saying nothing to each other, and it was like just silence for 10 seconons. And Koji shouts, "Wait, one of you say something, please! People are gonna think their TVs are busting!"
It about sums up the joke of why he's paired up with Chad.
I blatantly remember when this episode aired on Adult Swim, I actually did think my TV was muted, because there was just silence, like dead air, for 15 seconds. I'm not kidding.
It's like, okay, I get what you're going for with that joke, but it comes across as kind of stupid.
And Orihime ends up with Kuroto.
A bunny purse.
Yep. And he thinks it looks kind of lame and unmanly. So, I mean, look at it.
I mean, the only one that it's the one that's the least lame is the fucking praying mantis.
Yeah. Well, Yoshino basically kidnaps Uryu from being captured by the Bounts, because you find out the Bounts need him for something. We don't know what yet, but they definitely need him, and because they need the powers of a Quincy. And also you hear something about the prophecy that a Quincy would be necessary for the Bounts to achieve their goals.
I mean, it comes across as kind of awkward, because they state multiple times that they know he doesn't have his powers.
But that they might have a way to restore them. Cardio does make that comment. Which, sure, I guess. Also, keep up that counter, because Uryu, when Yoshino abducts him to save him from Ryo and the rest of the Bounts, since she's defecting from them, kind of, Uryu goes on about how he's the last Quincy. No other Quincy's are left.
Nope.
And
also, since you're skipping all over the place, you missed Ichigo's fight with Gerter.
yeah, right. We'll go back to that. The fire monster.
Because it's also a point that needs to be brought up. How stupid it comes across as. Because Rukia shows up during it.
Oh, yep, 9 episodes in to this entire, like, Monster Arc 5 episodes, then 4 episodes to the Bount Arc. Rukia is here.
Yeah. She still doesn't have all of her power, and yet she comes across as more useful than all the people who have their powers.
Yeah.
While only using the keto.
Okay, let's see if we can make this more focused now instead of all over the place. Yeah. Now the arc is basically set up. We know who our enemies are. Uryu and Yoshino are there creating a Love Hina reunion. Dorothy Fawn brought that up herself. Because of course she did.
I mean, it's not a coincidence either. I mean, don't forget who the ADR director is. At least for now.
Yeah, Wendy Lee is still ADR directing the Bount Arc. So, probably did that on purpose.
Because everybody loves Hina.
Do you not?
No. But I still want to know about the turtles. I have so many questions.
Have you not seen Love Hina, people? It has a flock of flying turtles. That's all you need to know.
Robot turtles.
Kaiju turtles! Okay.
Enough
being off topic, so... We should also point out, Hanataro and Ganju are in the world of the living now. Hanataro was sent there to investigate the world of the living, and he ends up getting addicted working at a convenience store.
Yeah.
And Ganju was sent there because Kukaku told him to go there too?
Or she was just probably annoyed with him.
That too. And they both are working at a convenience store run by Grant George. No, not Izuru Kira. Another Grant. Well, Yoshino and Uryu have a heart-to-heart since we're back with them now, I guess. While Rukia, Ichigo, and Renji are all discussing the fact that why are there so many damn Soul Reapers in this town now?
Yeah.
Which is a good question.
It is a very good question. I'm sure more Soul Reapers don't come to this town in the future.
And Afro Man continues to be irrelevant. No one cares about his existence.
Except for the fillers, which use his existence as a joke.
Oh. Uryu gets let go by Yoshino, and she brings him to the hospital where he can recover after Snake Man snaked him before him earlier. Yeah. And it's here you find out Uryu's dad owns a hospital, which, yes, this is canon. It's brought up in the manga later.
That's the other thing about this arc. You can't. It's another reason you can't skip it. It has canon stuff sprinkled throughout it.
Yep, so Ichigo's dad owns a clinic, Uryu's dad owns a hospital. The parallels, man.
Yeah, I wonder how much more they're gonna do that. Totally not.
Well,
something.
Isn't it convenient that the nurse tells Uryu and his friends, Ichigo and all them that are there to see him, that they have the entire floor to themselves?
Yeah.
Nothing can go wrong.
Man, this hospital has poor maintenance because that sink is leaking.
Yeah. Ichigo and Rukia act stupid arguing over a sink and how to fix it since the faucet breaks. Which...
I thought it was Renji.
No, Renji. Was it Renji? No, it was Ichigo. Renji shows up midway through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the scene works. Again, the comedy is fine. There's just a few moments where the monsters
The comedy and most of the character interaction is fine.
Because it still feels like they're acting in character with each other. Especially with how Renji's living at Urahara's shop and they keep calling him a moocher because, well, he's living there for free basically, like a dick.
Which is continued in the canon.
Yep. But meanwhile at the hospital, so everyone's there. Chad, Warhime, Uryu, who's still half dead at this point, basically.
Yeah.
And you find out the faucet isn't broken, it's a water bound. Or twin bound. Which first we have Bond. Seven Deadly Sins is back, man. It's Bond.
No.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
This Bond is voiced by Brian Beacock. We already talked about earlier, Yumichika. And the other one is named Ho. That name is never not going to be funny. And it's Roger Craig Smith again!
Do it a different... I mean, that one is just... At least this character talks.
Yeah, and he's doing a voice to where you probably wouldn't be able to tell it's the same voice actor as Nova unless you're familiar with his work. So, I guess we'll give this one a pass.
To me.
But, I mean, the way they fight this water bound is... Or water's doll, I guess, which this doll does not have a voice. Or these dolls, I guess?
Dolls.
Yeah, because they're twins that use them.
There's two of them, and they combine together to make an even bigger water monster. And the only one that's even remotely useful against this doll is
Ruki and Renji. No, Renji uses the Shakaho Keto too.
He uses it like once. The rest of the time,
no, him and Ruki are constantly shooting it at him. They're the only two.
I mean,
because
he does it a few times, but then he goes right back to using Zanpakuto.
Yeah, because they're the only ones that no Keto. Because Ichigo can't. Doesn't Ichigo try blowing up the whole floor?
Yeah, someone does. That is worth it for the end credits thing that plays it up as if it was real.
Yeah, where they're all dead.
What do you think was gonna happen?
Yeah, so of course, so they can't really stop the water monster because it keeps reforming. They're forced to escape the hospital, but it just so happens it's raining. Because it's not their lucky day. But you know who is here to save the day?
Okay.
Ganju. Yeah. Remember, he is a fireworks expert, so he knows all about explosions.
He knows how to make fireworks work while submerged in water.
Speaking of the water, that is one thing when Uryu is being strangled or drowned by one of them during this point. I wonder how they recorded that.
Oh, they're probably used to it by now. They've done weirder.
Since he had to make gargling noises, or, you know, Derek Stupid Prince did or whatever. But yeah. So the twin dolls. One is taken out by Ganju using his fireworks.
After the other, but first
the other one,
out.
Which is what we're getting to because it's really stupid, is taken out by the mod souls.
Well, a mod soul.
Yeah, it's Nova.
The only useful mod soul.
Because he can manipulate space, and he kept separating the twins, because the closer the twins are together, the more powerful their doll is, because they're more synced they are.
And just to show you that these guys are jobbers, he gets taken out by like a 3-foot drop.
Yeah, so the other Bount is left on his own, which is ultimately what helps Ganju.
An awfully fitting defeat.
And you find out here that if a Bount's doll is destroyed, then they turn into dust.
Sporkle.
And the episode ends with Cardia showing up and all the other Bounts being in the room and him laughing that the twins were killed. Because Antax and Fiction keep doing that. why are you laughing that you lost some of your minions? I don't understand.
Remember, Bounts are a rarity. No, laugh that you just lost some.
They can't... Yeah, you find out Bounts can't reproduce, and they're very endangered, which, again, whole relatable to the Quincy's thing that this arc is going for. You're an idiot, Cardia.
I'm sure we're not going to say that, alright.
Oh, and Udio also goes off on his own because he's tired of being a burden to them. So, he's doing the walk of emo. Which is when Yoshino finds him again, and she takes him home. To her home, I guess. And they have more talk about shipping.
Anyway, moving on. That's essentially all that is.
Yeah. You find out that she and Cardia used to be a thing in the past, but he was just manipulating her because he's kind of a dick, so she left him. Because Cardia has a goal of going to Waco Mundo, and she says it's real. We will get back to this later, because either she's an idiot, Cardia lied, which is also possible, or writer's just fucked up.
Or writing as you go syndrome. You decide.
But, yeah. It's at this point where Cardia tells one of his Bount friends, Koga, voiced by Richard Epcar, again, doing literally the same voice he's doing for Zangetsu. Even back when I first saw these episodes, I remembered thinking, wait, that's just Zangetsu again.
No, it's not. He is a Mohawk.
Tells him to track down Yoshino and the Quincy. So, he shows up to crash the lovemaking. And Yoshino calls him Kaga for some reason. Gotta love that. Yes. But Koga doesn't like his name being mispronounced, so he summons his doll. Which, what the fuck even is it?
It's a bunch of balls that come together to form a thing and can do... Its powers just make themselves up from what I've been seeing. It's like, it gets cut in half. Minor inconvenience. Duh.
I mean, that one might be a little explainable. We'll get to that. But, yeah. Anyway, its name is Dalk, and it's voiced by Karen Strassman again. Swiftwood's already getting a decent amount of screen time in this arc with the scenes interplayed with her investigating.
No, but that's Melina. That's different.
She is doing basically her straight-up Melina voice for her. She's even going on about how she loves everyone and wants to share her love. Well...
I think it's supposed to be spider-like too, because it does use spider web-like abilities
that are made of steel.
Later. Yeah. But it's essentially indestructible, so you could turn into a bunch of balls, so he pretty much has the perfect doll.
It would make sense that he's basically the second in command of the dolls. As this arc goes on, that becomes more apparent.
Yeah. Even the yes man boast.
He's even the only Bount with a full episode dedicated to his backstory. I don't even think Cardia gets that much.
No, Cardia just gets a back, like, just gets Yoshino.
Flashback with Yoshino, yeah. And occasionally, well, we'll get to that. We're getting a little off topic. So, the two Bounts, Yoshino uses her doll, and they have a fuck. Yeah, it doesn't go very well.
Because unfortunately, they were fighting Dalk. Big mistake. Apparently, I'm not even making that up. Yeah,
so Udio and Yoshino get captured. I'm sorry, Yoshino, according to Cardia's pronunciation around this point, too.
Yeah.
Fucking names. Can you guys just pick a side with the pronunciation and stick to it?
Oh, I know what you can't wait to get to. We'll get there later.
Well, meanwhile, in Soul Society land, the Bount stuff is becoming real over there too, since it's affecting the world of the living, and the Bounts, you find out, were hunted down by Soul Society because they were interfering with the balance.
Yeah. And they apparently have some elite hacks or working for them because he hacked Mayori's computer.
Yeah, and stole information while also setting up a virus.
Also locking him out of the information. It's like...
Holy shit, man. Mayori, you're either a bitch or... This guy's must be really skilled. Can't wait to find out who it is.
Yeah.
But okay, it's time for more silliness. And by silliness, I mean serious stuff. Ichigo, Orihime, Chad, and Rukia, and the three cones, the cone team, are all going to Cardia's mansion to find an Uryu. And yeah, this is where we meet a lot of the Bounts. So we could finally start talking about how stupid some of this casting is.
Alright. So what do we got behind Bount door number 1?
Well, first we have the female Bount, whose name I don't know because they hardly say it, and she's irrelevant, so I just labeled her female Bount. I'm not kidding, by the way.
I know what you're gonna say. Is it Yoshino female? Yes, but she's useful.
This Bount is voiced by Stephanie Shea. Why? Look,
you know what would be crazy? If she had a fight with Orihime. Oh.
Look, I'm gonna be honest, we meme a lot, but the double casting isn't much of a problem unless you have a main character who's also double casted. Then it just comes across as stupid. Especially when those two characters end up fighting each other. And at this point, it's not like Bleach was being simuldubbed or something. The anime was way further ahead in the sub, so they had to have known what they were doing.
Oh, so, that's classic them. That's par for the course. It's just gonna get worse as we go on.
Anyway, no need to talk about her doll yet, because she's irrelevant right now. She doesn't do shit. We already discussed Koga. He's not going to do anything at this part either. So, it's just Ichigo in the main hall of the mansion, staring down with Rio, the Tony thingy, while Rukia and the Mod Souls going on ahead to find Uryu.
They split up.
While Chad and Orihime remain outside, I guess? Because one of the bounced
on
dolls...
the roof?
Yeah.
I guess. I know what you people are asking. Where the fuck is Renji? Well, there's a perfectly good payoff for that. We'll get to that.
There is. There actually is. I'll give it credit for that, because I was wondering that too. But, yeah, so Rukia goes to where Uryu and Yoshino are being held, and runs into a Soul Reaper dude. Maki Ichinose. Voiced by Sam Riegel. Hey, it's Phoenix Wright. I guess one of the turtles from 03 TMNT.
Yeah.
But he's also Steve Burnside in Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles.
Yeah, just... you could take Steve more seriously than this guy.
Okay, so Maki's whole thing is he's a beta for Cardia. He wants to follow this man and probably suck his dick, being as how 90% of his dialogue is Master Cardia. And you know what pisses me off?
Master.
You know what pisses me off? I was ranting about this the whole time we were watching this. This character has everything in his favor. He has a decent thought-out backstory, a decent Zanpakuto ability that's unique, and decent motivations. Everything for him works. It's just his personality and character archetype.
We're pulled out of this tool shed.
He's literally a tool. He is the definition of a tool. And it just makes him so lame. So Maki's backstory is he used to be part of Squad 11 and was probably their lieutenant? It's not really clear on that, but...
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, the former Squad 11 captain was challenged by Kenpachi and killed by him, so naturally, Maki, who was loyal to the former captain, was a bit miffed. Which, this actually makes sense.
He even tries to challenge Kenpachi, but it's like, come back when you're not a tool.
Yeah, because he told
essentially.
Kenpachi's exact analogy is you're like an ivy vine. You need to cling to the tree to survive. You need to learn to stand on your own instead of being such a bitch. So, Maki even tries cutting Kenpachi, and as we've established before, if your spiritual pressure sucks, you'll just hurt yourself.
Oh look, his Zanpakuto tail went flying. That's weird. He must be a bitch.
So, when he basically rage quits Squad 11, because he hates Kenpachi, he gets saved by the Bount when a hollow nearly kills him.
Yeah. Yes, because he couldn't finish off the hollow without Cardia doing all of the work for him, which is a common trend with this guy.
Yeah. So, Rukia basically and him have a scuffle, I guess, where she uses Hado on him.
Not even full-powered Hado, and she's keeping him there.
Well, Ichigo is fighting Ryo. Ryo, before the fight, says, "Don't worry, we're gonna fight one-on-one, because us Bounts are independent. In fact, if you don't believe me, hey, Cardia, take off your crest. He can't summon his doll and is defenseless without this." Yeah, this will be relevant in a minute.
It's gonna come across as silly.
Well, Ichigo and Ryo have a fuck, and... I don't know, Ryo does some cool stuff with his snake friend, I guess.
Yeah. But then...
Ryo decides to steal Cardia's crest, because he wants to be Bount King.
Yeah. He pulled... betrayal out of nowhere, besides the fact he was acting shady the whole time.
He was. You could tell. Like, it was foreshadowed. Especially because earlier before everyone showed up, when he was talking to Cardia about Uryu, Cardia shouted at him, like, "You have no idea how I feel." So, I guess he didn't like being talked to like that.
Yeah.
Not like it matters though, because Cardia doesn't need a doll. Because Ryo's attacks do nothing. But apparently Maki over there back with Rukia, his Cardia sense is going off, so he needs to run to suck his dick, help him.
Yeah. Essentially. That's right, he's so much of a bitch, he had to run from Rukia, who had no Zanpakuto.
Yeah, oh. And I guess to show how skilled Maki is, Kuroto and Nova tried using their illusions and space manipulation and shape-shifting on him, but it didn't work very well. He saved both of them. But
are we supposed to take the mod soul serious?
I guess. Again, it would have worked if the mod soul arc was, well, not shit. Okay.
So it just comes across as, okay, you're like stepping on some ants. What the fuck do you want?
It probably would have worked better if Maki took down a character that we know can handle themselves. Like, I don't know, why don't you have him take down Chad? Someone who's just sitting on the damn roof and does nothing for the rest of this fight.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd struggle taking down Orihime.
Well, anyway, Maki shows up, and we see what his Zanpakuto can do. Manipulate light. And he kills Ryo. Ryo, someone who was already injured after mid-fight with Ichigo.
It's like he's a total bitch.
And yeah, he can also use his Zanpakuto to manipulate what people perceive as light to make himself invisible. Again, it's a cool Zanpakuto ability. That's why I said he has things going for him. It's just his personality and the way he's executed. Funnily enough, though, at least Sam Riegel said he had fun voicing him, because he said he loves voicing antags. He made a comment also in an interview about this, saying that he likes to think he's masculine, though his voice does not give off that impression, which is why he rarely gets cast as these types of characters.
That just sums up so much about him.
Yep. So now Maki decides to take on Ichigo, someone who again is already injured and exhausted after his fight with Ryo. Damn it, Maki, why? Why are you such wasted potential?
And I'll get to the other part.
You mean the part with Cardia?
Where he can only finish off Ichigo after Cardia steps.
Yeah, Ichigo manages to hold his own against Maki and fight him to kind of an even thing, I guess, for now, but then Cardia steps in, bitch slaps Ichigo and doesn't even flick him through a wall or something.
Yeah, he gives him the finger. Hasn't did it better.
And then he says, Ichigo, you want to join us, buddy? You're a substitute Soul Reaper, so you must have some qualms against Soul Society, right? Join us. Ichigo's like, no, man, I want that shit. So then Cardi's like, oh, whatever. I don't care, I'm bored now. Maki, you can kill him, I guess, if you want.
But like any tool, he can't finish the job, because he's a no-pump chump.
No, they get cucked by Yoruichi showing up with the Shunko technique to save the day, while Rukia rescues Uryu and Yoshino.
Okay, honestly, I've been bringing it up this whole time. How is Rukia doing so much when she doesn't even have a Zanpakuto or half her power back?
I'm gonna guess it's because of how popular she is this arc, and I know some people will be like, what about her even using her Zanpakuto? I have a theory for that too.
Well, she doesn't. If they didn't want to reveal that it's Shikai, they could have just kept it in its base form and have to at least use it.
Yeah.
Which is going to come across as even sillier once we get to another thing later.
Yeah, and the Bounts all flee after Yoruichi shows up, and like, alright, let's get out of here. This mansion's destroyed, man. And Cardia's crying. No, not really. He doesn't seem to care that much.
It's just a mansion.
I'd be more sad that I lost a snake friend over there, because that's one less Bount. But of course, Cardia would probably find that hilarious.
He died. He got killed by a tool.
Yeah. And now we get to this plot point that does not work in the slightest.
Oh, another one?
Yep. So, they all go back to Urahara's shop to recoup. Which I will say, this is towards the halfway point of this now, about episode 78 if I'm not mistaken. This arc has been okay. The Bounts are interesting enough as villains, and it's just Mod Souls, man. Lirine literally did nothing. Why was she there? And the thing is her ability could be very useful. She can use illusions to make people delirious.
Yeah. And and by the way, did you think that the Mod Soul arc was over?
We're getting to that, but First, we got Ichigo being emo because he's afraid of cardio? What?
Even though the performance and the scene direction does not insinuate this in the slightest.
Yeah, it just starts this at the beginning of this episode.
And it's a scene that's just contradicting itself the whole time.
And Urahara asks Ichigo, do you think you could beat him even if you can't use your Bankai? Because your Bankai is locked right now for some reason? Because you relied on it too much? I don't know.
He relied on it too much by only using it once.
Yeah, so Ganju flees work and goes to Ichigo at Urahara's place because he can sense gloomy energy. And he takes Renji and Ichigo down to the training ground so Ganju and Renji can beat the shit out of him. Oh, I guess we should talk about why Renji wasn't there now. This is only addressed in a post-credits scene, too.
And these are post-credit scenes are all comedic.
Yep. Where the hell are you, Renji? Well, I didn't know I was needed. Been calling you this whole time on your soul pager. Well, I don't have a missed call. Oh, battery's dead. It's like, fair enough, alright? That joke actually lands.
I mean, it's still stupid, but it's an explanation.
Yeah, I'll give it that. It works, I guess. And also, Renji is demonstrated to not be highly intelligent, so of course he'd make a mistake like that.
Yeah, which is why it's easier for the people at school to assume he's related to Ichigo.
That's like the best part of the Monster arc is those interactions with him at school. Those are fucking hilarious.
I mean, if you didn't know any better, they do come across as related.
They both even have red/orange hair.
Exactly.
But yeah, so Ichigo is emo because he's afraid of cardia? And Renji and Ganju are beating the shit out of him to beat the cowardice out of him.
Even though he's not even coming across as emo? I didn't... Yeah. Yes.
So, halfway through, though, Ganjo gets a call because Hinataro is swamped at the store and the Grant Jorge thingy thinks Ganju's in the bathroom. And he's like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's in the bathroom. If I know him, he's there. I'm just thinking, how long have you known this fucker? I don't understand.
How long's it been? Like 4 days minimum?
Yeah, maybe a few days. A week tops?
Unless
why would you hire an employee that, unless, yeah.
I mean, it's just a convenience store. They go through,
I guess.
They go through employees like toilet paper.
Yeah, so Ganju's forced to leave while Renji and Ichigo have another scuffle. And he just comes out of the bathroom, and Grant George goes, yep, knew it. He was in the bathroom the whole time.
And he does talk exactly like that.
What the fuck? I don't know. Why?
And he has an afro for some reason. That's all I got.
Yeah. So Ichigo and Renji have another fight, though. It's not as cool as it sounds, trust me. And
yeah.
Ichigo, at the end of it, goes, thanks, Renji, I found my resolve. I'm no longer afraid.
So
there was a motivation.
A filler episode within a filler arc?
That episode itself felt filler, though.
Oh, that episode.
Which is why the following episode focuses entirely on the Mod Souls doing dumb things. Because that's what we needed.
Yeah.
Okay, some of the comedy in this episode works, but honestly, the whole, these are Bount traps meant to trap a Bount, developed by Urahara. One, that is bullshit. Urahara might be a troll, but is he that much of a dick to make something that he knows wouldn't work?
Yes.
2, This episode doesn't advance the plot in any way, shape, or form and comes across like nothing. And 3... this episode could be dropped and nothing would happen, which, speaking of which, the placement of this episode, we kind of got a little off. But it's fine, it's better to talk about it now and get it out of the way.
Because it's literally a nothing episode.
It's just the mod souls doing dumb things.
And the mod souls are grating enough being irrelevant.
Okay.
Or existing.
So back to the main plot. Yoshino and Uryu both basically exit the Udahara shop. With Yoshino leaving and Uryu being like, "No! My girlfriend is gone! I gotta chase after her!" And she goes back to Cardia because she wants to try settling things herself. Because Uryu taught her to have pride as a Bount.
Yes, how pride is a as a reverse
vampire?
Quincy.
Nazi vampire.
Yeah, sure, Nazi.
We're bringing it back to Hellsing. German vampires. It's Hellsing, man.
Yeah. As opposed to German archers.
Yeah. Okay, so Yoshino goes to fight Cardia. And Ichigo and Renji pursue, which is when they're stopped by Koga and Maki. And this probably should have been Maki's introduction in the first place, being as how he's able to hold off Ichigo without coming across like a complete tool, since Ichigo isn't half dead by this fight. Seriously, what is with his...
But because of the previous encounters, it just makes you like go, okay, so how is he holding off Ichigo now?
Yep.
What, you made your character come across as a bitch and he can't be taken seriously? Oops.
First impressions are everything, it seems. So, Cardia has Yoshino summon Gerta to fight him, and it doesn't go so well. Who would have seen that coming? Because Cardia merged with his doll, so him and his doll are one!
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't need a crest.
Because he has a tattoo!
Then why his physical strength is so strong. And he explains that Yoshino is a special Bount because she has the ability to produce love? And make Bounts fall in love with her, and her doll even fell in love with her with a maternal love or whatever.
And she can produce other dolls?
Yeah, so Yoshino, in a last-ditch effort, fuses with her doll Gerta. And she becomes a fire monster.
After Gerta gets the splits.
Yeah.
Or cut in half. He doesn't have a foot to stand on.
Okay. But of course, though, it's not enough, and Cardia uses her to give birth to the Beatos, which are basically bee monsters, man!
A real subtle name.
That can suck the souls out of people and deliver them hand deliver them to the Bounts.
So it's like the Bounts are just fucking lazy at this point.
And Uryu is sad that his ship died and is crying, and Cardia's like, I have no use for a Quincy without his powers. Which, in retrospect, I think was just his way of trying to motivate Uryu to seek out a way to get his powers back sooner. I think that's why he was saying something like that.
Or he's just being a dick. You never know. It is Cardia.
Yeah, and by the way, after this, where the Beatos are made, and it's like, holy shit, what are they going to do now? Yoshino's dead, Uryu's depressed, our heroes are on the losing end, is when that stupid mod soul filler happens. Right here. And then the very next episode ignores that mod soul filler within a filler, and starts off with the Beatos attacking people.
I mean, honestly, if the Ichigo emo thing is a filler within a filler, then that's a triple.
What is this arc that it has a filler within a filler? How do you do that?
It's what it.
Yeah.
It just shows the writing on the fly, and someone must focus.
There is some planning here, though, because when we go back to Soul Society, Mayuri's able to get some of the data and shows footage of the Bounts and the Quincy's having a war in the past, where the Bounts were targeting one Quincy specifically, and they didn't understand why. We do find out later, and it does make sense.
Yeah, so there are two sides of the same coins. The Quincy's hated them, and they hated the Quincy's. So it makes you think, oh, that's one of the reasons why they're targeting a Quincy.
No, because remember, they were only targeting one specifically. So yeah.
Well, he's the last Quincy. Yup. The last Quincy.
So, yeah. Renji gets taken out by Obito, though, trying to save someone.
He's trying to save small child.
And it didn't go very well for him.
Because he got the swarm.
Not the bees! Not the bees! What? Don't judge me.
That's ridiculous. You need to behave yourself.
When the Betos deliver themselves souls to the Bount's hideout, we see how each Bount reacts to sucking out a soul. Now we can talk about the other Bounts that weren't voiced yet till now.
Actually, it does come across as a little silly, because when they deliver it, it's already in its little bottle. It's like, what the fuck?
Just roll with it, I guess.
I mean, yeah, it fits in with the silliness of Bleach at times. Well, outside of those mod soul shenanigans, that's...
The first Bount, though, is the researcher nerd Bount, Ugaki, voiced by Kirk Thornton. At least he hasn't voiced anyone in a while. Oh, I'm fine with it, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's the one that created the Betos.
Oh, he must know a lot about the birds and the bees.
Damn straight he does. We already talked about the useless Stephanie Shea Bount. What?
Useless indeed.
After that, we have Sawatari, an old man Bount, voiced by Joe J. Thomas, who's, Manabu from March Comes In Like a Lion, I haven't seen yet. So I don't know, you'll have to tell me about that one, I guess.
I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know off the top of my head.
He's also Nobunaga Hazuma from Hunter x Hunter. Which I'm pretty sure is one of the Phantom Troop members.
Yeah. But you're also talking about Hunter x Hunter, which has how many fucking characters, as many as Bleach!
He's also Alfred from Record of Grand Crest War, which I don't even remember who that character is off the top of my head. That showed a lot of fucking characters too, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, let's be real. At this point, we could probably all assume they're all old men-ish characters.
It's gonna be funny if this was the only old man character he ever voiced. Like, oh, well, we fucked up on that one. Okay. Well, you come to find out that it's because he did the sucks to too many souls that it aged him relentlessly. Which is a little weird, because they say that the Bounts get stronger with each soul they suck, and it can help them maintain their eternal youth?
Yeah.
But it also says the Bounts are already eternal and can't die of old age, so... I don't know, that one came across a little iffy, I guess.
Writing on the fly problem. Chalk it up to that.
And that's a minor nitpick, though. That's not a major issue. You can overlook it, I guess.
And they needed the token old man character, I guess.
Next, we have Mabushi, the one Bount who's actually rebelling against sucking the souls out, because he still believes in the old code of the Bounts, which is never suck the soul of a living person. Only take the souls of the dead, so that way you don't hurt the balance of the world or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by Keith Silverstein again.
Yeah, this time he doesn't have an afro.
And Cardia beats the shit out of him, saying, if your opinion differs from mine, then it might cost you your life. Opinions aren't allowed with us Bount. Now here, I'm gonna force you to take this soul.
Unconsensual drink.
That's not very nice.
And all the other ones are essentially going, yeah, in the background.
Yeah, because they actually think it feels amazing, and like, oh, this feeling's intoxicating, man.
Yeah, and then he has a complete character 180 after drinking it. Like drinking it is a bad thing or something.
Yep. And, yeah, Ichigo and them are taking out the Betos, and Cardia calls them back saying, you know what, why don't you guys go test your newfound powers, since you guys are much stronger now. And thus... What?
Oh, we're gonna get to this, back to the stupidity.
We're gonna get to stupidity and what I actually feel was really wasted potential in retrospect looking back at this arc. Okay, so... fight setup time. The Bount, as they're leaving, though, discuss how Cardia has taken complete control, and... well, Koga's fine with it. Stephanie Shea and... Sawatari are speculative to say the least, but don't really have a choice because they know if they cross them, they'll probably get killed.
Especially her, since she is a joke. As we will get to.
Oh, yeah, Jinta and Urudu are here this time too. And they give Ichigo a new bounce sensor because they weren't able to sense the bounce for a while. And the bounce sensor is a callback to a much earlier episode, and I feel it's hilarious and works.
And thus making the mod souls even more useless.
Amazing armor of justice in place. Amazing helmet of justice, protect me now! More or less. Something like that. He has to shout that to make the bounce sensor works. Yeah, and it actually works this time. And Ruki, of course, is like, I can't believe you actually said that.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, see, a great callback, and it works. And it was a decent payoff, since this time it worked for real. But yeah, it does make the mod souls, which were meant to be the bounce sensors, kind of fucking useless.
Outside of one of them, which actually is involved in another upcoming fight and does stuff relevant in it.
Okay, so at this point, the Soul Society also puts together a special task force of, they claim 4 lieutenants, but Yumichika's not a lieutenant, he's a 5th seat. Just put that out there.
Details. I mean, he one-shotted a lieutenant, so might as well be a lieutenant.
Yeah, so Hitsugaya is the one who puts this together. Hisagi is one of these lieutenants, and it's really dumb when Hitsugaya talks right before Hisagi.
He sent himself, what an asshole.
So Steve Staley is replying to Steve Staley. Damn it, this double casting, man. But yeah, so it's Hisagi, Izuru, Rangiku, and Yumichika.
The lieutenant of Squad 11.
Sure. There is actually a really hilarious comedic skit after an episode before this, though, where Maki Maki asks Kenpachi who to send, and he's like, alright, well, where's Yachido? At the candy store. What about Ikaku? He's shaving his head, and Yumichika doing paperwork. Send Yumichika. What? But he's the only one actually doing work. Yes, but playtime is much more important than work.
I thought Ikaku was... Wait, wasn't Ikaku sleeping?
Oh yeah, he was sleeping. Yeah. I mean, you do find out he's shaved, though.
I think shaving his head was in another post-credits.
It still works, though. Much like Yachiru when they're talking about Maki, and Maki getting confused because of her nickname. And she makes a comment, how are you confused with Maki, when Maki is Maki, and Maki is Maki?
Shout out to anyone who could understand that. I mean, I have to put up with him on a regular basis. I know he's kind of crazy.
Hey, I was just quoting her.
Acting like you don't say stuff like that on a regular basis.
How many takes do you think that took Dinah Sherman to get correct, actually? Because I was like,
yes.
You had to not only say that, you had to match the lip flaps and say it in character.
I'm sure they've all said. I'm sure they've all had it say worse.
Still, you want to say that's impressive. But yeah, so Bount setup fight. Sawatari, or Old Man Kun, is taking on Chad, Nova, Ururu, and Rangiku. But we come back to that fight later. That fight just basically is set up, and yeah.
That fight is Team Red.
Oh, yeah,
seriously, they're all wearing red, or each of them either has the color red or, well, pink.
Doesn't Rangiku have red hair? What's with all the redheads?
Yeah.
What? It's pointed out there.
So does Nova.
Yeah, no, damn it! Like, is that this show's fetish?
Also, we didn't explain this. Nova is in his Gigai, which is what they showed up in the beginning before they got put in the dolls. They're stronger, not in the dolls. Their explanation over.
Yeah, so Kuroto's in his Gigai too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, at this point he is. Yeah,
yes.
Lirin's the only one in the stuffed animal. She didn't get a Gigai.
So she's even more useless than usual.
Yep, and she's with Ichigo, and Ichigo's about to fight Koga one-on-one with his doll. And,
poor Ichigo. Unfortunately, he has to fight Dolk.
The Stephanie Shea thingy is about to fight Orihime, Rukia, and Kuroto.
As we've stated earlier.
Why would you do this? Oh, so now we can talk about Stephanie Shea thingy's doll. Don't ask me the name of it. I don't know.
It's two dolls in one. One side is a fan, the other is a sword. The sword is the female voice.
Yep, which is Wendy Lee. Bet you guys aren't tired of hearing that on the cast list.
And the sword is in love, and the doll is in love with itself.
Hey, the fan is Vic Mignogna, and he can fan my flames of love.
No, he's the sword.
I thought you said the sword was the female.
No, the fan is the. It's 2 a.m. Whatever.
That's no excuse. I don't care.
Yes,
then fine. He can pierce me with the sword of love.
I think he's more interested in piercing himself.
Yeah, being as how he's like, you're gorgeous to the other doll. It's like, what the fuck even is this?
The dolls have more personality than the owner.
Yeah, the owner is like, yeah, I just want to fight, because Raw, not even in the cool fight sexual way like Kenpachi. Yeah. She's just boring.
Yeah. And she's struggling in a
against
fight.
Orihime and Rukia. Rukia, who has no powers.
Who has half of her power. It fluctuates whatever they call it.
All she can use is Hado and all that shit.
Yes. And she's been putting up more of a fight than people with their Zanpakuto toes. This arc is something with that.
Well, Ichigo's fighting Koga, and he's getting his ass kicked by Dolk. Look, I'm gonna be honest, Koga is honestly probably the best written bound out of all of them with the way he's handled and the way he's presented. He actually does come across like a serious threat in every encounter he's in.
Yeah. And he, unlike Sam over there, or Maki, or Ichino, say,
Yeah,
Or
he actually
Ichigo
has.
say.
He actually has prop motivation, which we actually find out at this point. But before that, what?
sometime during his fight with Ichigo, Ichigo cuts Dolk in half. Unfortunately, Ichigo's fighting Dolk.
Well, yeah, Ichigo's getting his ass kicked, so before he dies, his hollow possesses him.
Yeah.
And I feel this was needed, actually, to show that his hollow is still around, because it's relevant later in the next arc.
Yeah. It does help more with the next arc. It's one of the things that worked really well. And you got to hear JYB go all crazy.
I really want to hear him do roles like this more, because he sounds really good as Hollow Ichigo. And Dolk gets fucked up.
Yeah, this is at this point where they get cut in half, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but of course Ichigo don't want help from Hollows, so he takes back control and...
Ichigo needs no Hollow. Except when he does.
Yep. And of course he's on the losing end after this, but before Dolk can do the finishing blow, Izuru shows up to save the day. And
look.
This is when we get Koga's backstory.
Yeah.
So, his backstory is Cardia took a younger Bount to him to mentor under him. And almost everything works but the climax. I know what they were going for, but you'll see. I'm sure people already know. You can probably watch this before watching this video, I'd hope at least.
No, they're just living Bleach through your eyes. Or mouth.
That sounds silly. Well, yeah, so you find out here the Bounts were ostracized for not being normal people, because they had spiritual powers and people were chasing them out of town and shit, so they were ostraced. I know what I said.
So he lives like a hermit on the edge of town. Or something.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have a silly looking mohawk on top of his head right now, because
people actually change hairstyles.
People change hairstyles over centuries because that's what it would be at that time period.
And to give Koga credit, he did not want to kill any humans. He only summoned his doll as a last resort because they wouldn't stop pursuing them.
Yeah. In fact, he rarely wants to bring out his doll. Unless it's in modern time, then he just says, "You're fucked now, Dolk is here."
Yeah. Well, Cardia apparently gave him a book that he wrote on doll summoning.
This just makes you question so many things about...
I really want to know. Like, how?
What was the point of Yoshino, the Yoshino thing, then? If you have a book of doll summoning?
Well, I guess a Bount is only allowed to be contracted with one doll, and the Beatos are artificial. Maybe that's what they're going for?
I guess.
But, yeah, so... Kane, which I can't find out who he was voiced by, actually, was the name of the young Bount. Anyway, Koga warns him, okay, I'll teach you how to summon a doll. Don't do it on your own, though, because, yeah, it won't be good. But of course, Kane does it on his own.
And then he comes down with a sudden case of...
Yeah, because in order to control a doll, you need to also be powerful in order to rein your doll in. Because they explained earlier, if you're weak, then your doll's not going to listen to you and can run wild. Which is why during the Yoshino fight, Cardia was even saying, I'm surprised you could even control Gurta in this state. You're half dead.
Yeah. And the doll gives him the sucks.
It ate him?
Pretty much. And then he turns to glitter and dust This time it's for real.
Yeah, so Koga decides to no longer live as a hermit and move back to where Cardia and the rest of the Bounts were, thinking they need to stick together because he's lost too many people. Since, you know, eternal life will do that to you.
Yeah. And he blames himself for this, even though he's technically not at fault.
I guess they're going for that whole thing where he's the parent going on, if I'd only trained my child better, then this wouldn't have happened.
No pissing on the carpet. Bad game.
Oh, of course. Yeah, so again, this works as a motivation, and he ends up fighting Ichigo one-on-one, while Dalk, unfortunately, has paired up with the worst possible match he could ever have gotten. And we find out how Wabisuke works again, guys!
Well, he unfortunately also paired up against someone with the best win-loss ratio in the series.
Yeah, Izuru's actually on an upward swing from here. He might have lost to Rangiku, but he
goes
fucking
from getting
squashes Dalk.
Goes from getting one-shotted off-screen by Rangiku to...
this is literally a squash match. Because she's basically made out of steel, and every time he hits something,
and her attacks leave her balls all over the fucking...
Woof.
And she absorbs them back inside of herself to launch more, and her powers are just all over the place.
Yeah, but either way, she can't fucking move. Izuru basically won this, hands down.
Yeah.
Oh, and Koga's apparently a super strong human because he trained his body to be a steroid monster, so Ichigo can't beat him physically.
I mean, he was already this size in that backflash. Or flashback for you plebeians.
Which, this is something I wanted to bring up. The reason Ichigo ran over here in the first place is because Keigo, or Yuri Lowenthal, who, by the way, every scene he's in is hilarious in this arc. This is one thing the filler arc did right, was with him.
You get more Yosuke, yes.
He's literally Yosuke from Persona. It's not even just the same voice actor. That's literally Keigo's personality. I mean, yeah, Keigo basically had his soul sucked by a Beto and almost died, which is why Ichigo's here. And Koga shows Ichigo mercy and leaves because he doesn't like seeing young people die? It makes you think that letting Keigo's soul get sucked over there and not letting Ichigo save him, that's A-okay. You're confusing me, Koga.
You're watching the Bount arc. That should explain everything.
I mean, you got Dalk crying that she can't move because she's too fat. I mean, heavy.
She got Wabisuke. And everyone who fights him knows what that feels like. Except Rangiku, apparently, is the only one who could defeat him. Yeah,
so he calls back Dalk and he leaves. Now, let's go back over to the Stephanie Shea fight.
Still a joke.
Still a joke. In fact, Mabushi shows up and is drunk on the soul that he took. And is acting crazy. And he manages to chase the Stephanie Shea thingy off like it's nothing and steal her fight from her.
It just writes itself.
What a terrible fucking Bount! I'm sorry, she sucks. Anyway, we get to meet his doll.
Shinobu, she is not.
But we get to meet his doll. Wait, Shinobu? What?
I said Shinobu, she is not.
Uh-oh.
I mean, useful, she is not. Yeah.
Well, Mabushi summons his doll Ritse, or Ritsa, because he changes how he says it all the time. I'm not kidding. We kept track. He kept changing it from Ritse to Ritsa this whole time.
Well, it was consistently every other line, so it could have been an actual thing.
Yeah, and she's voiced by Sandy Fox. Or Chibiusa from the Viz dub of Sailor Moon, or Flan from the Disgaea franchise. She's probably been in other stuff.
Disgaea?
Or Pishi from the Neptunia games, I guess, or Yellowheart, whatever you want to call her. And strangely enough, this is literally her only role in this series. Yet they're okay with recycling a bunch of other voice actors, I guess.
Unless there's some ad voices we didn't know.
I think they were a couple of ad voices. She was a couple of ad voices too, yeah.
I'm sure that's the last time we'll hear her as ad voices, because they'll fuck off, and then we'll never hear them again.
Yeah, so what the hell kind of doll is she?
It's... I don't know, like a gerbil flower-looking thing, with it's like a gerbil-looking thing with a flower around its neck.
Well, you can tell she's having fun with this role, though.
It bounces around the place, and...
I mean, you all are familiar with his work, or her work, come on. She's known for voicing over-the-top moe things.
Yeah, but what is her name?
I don't fucking know. Well, whoever the fuck has the ability to possess people, so she possesses Rukia.
And here is another part of the arc that just makes you question so many things down the line.
Okay, well, firstly, I was also off on one thing. Orihime's friends that she summons, her spirits or Kanten-sanchu, and do have speaking lines here, but...
just way lesser so than before.
Yeah.
You can tell where it's headed at this point. They're slowly writing them off the show.
Yep. And Kuroto also transforms into Renji, I guess, here too.
Not just here. This is going to be a running thing. It's
he
always
did it in
Renji
that one-off
for some
filler.
reason.
Yeah, he did it in the one-off Bount, or not so filler, I mean, that we skipped earlier.
Yeah. It's like, okay, why did you keep transforming into Renji of all people?
Probably because that's the most powerful Soul Reaper he knows, since Ichigo can't use Bankai yet. For whatever reason.
But he only uses Renji as Sheik.
Yeah. I think he used it against the Stephanie Shea Bount and got stabbed, but it's the Stephanie Shea Bount, so he acts like he's not even injured that much when Mabushi shows up.
Yeah, so after getting possessed by the Ritsa...
By the pizza?
Ritsu. Yeah, the pizza, that's what I'll call them.
Okay, so after the pizza possesses her, what?
She gets released from her Gigai and has her Zanpakuto.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't have shown the Zanpakuto yet, I guess, if they didn't want to reveal it.
I mean...
She can't even use it, though. It's just a normal sword right now.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's just Zanpakuto. I didn't say it was saying it's Shikai. Come on, what's wrong with you?
This is one thing, though, where you could tell this arc, or right here, this moment, you could tweak it and actually make it way more impactful. If you're wondering how, well, why not have Pizza possess Orihime instead? You might be wondering, what would this change? Well, it would have Rukia forced to fight an opponent that was possessed by an enemy again, and you could use that to remind her of the whole Kaien situation.
Yeah.
Thus making Rukia way more hesitant to fight or even think of hurting Orihime because she's already had to go through this shit before. And I don't know, I feel that would work way better than what we got here, where Orihime was just hesitating because it's Orihime and that's her personality.
And just using her OP shield of blocking, because that thing can block a lot, as we'll find out later.
Yeah, so Hisagi shows up here, and Orihime is like, please let me save Rukia, yeah! And he's like, alright, sure, I'll just stand back and do nothing. That's cool.
And through the power of friendship, Rukia is free from the mind control
of the pizza, and the pizza has to go away because the pizza is hurt. And Mabushi is about to take on Hisagi by himself, and you realize you're an idiot, Mabushi. You don't have a doll, and you're not Koga over there, so it probably won't go very well. Thus, Maki shows up to save Mabushi. The one useful thing he's done so far for these Bounts, I'm sure.
Yeah. He's just a Bounce errand boy.
Yeah. Well, that, I guess, wraps up this little fight.
Oh, should also... back to the chat.
Real quick, should mention Kuroto had the idea of attacking Mabushi and to break Rukia's control, but Orihime's like, no, he's still human, I don't want to hurt a human! Damn it, Orihime. Come on.
There's a reason why you didn't get any fights in Soul Society.
It was okay to judo chop them. Judo chop to his soul.
Judo chopping them is A-okay, but attacking them is different.
Anyway, so now we're at the Chad fight, where Mark Warden last voices Chad in an episode preview leading into this fight.
Yeah.
And Chad now lost his voice. What?
Didn't after the episode he go on a hiatus on Tsunami and whatever?
No. That's way later down the line.
Oh, so he literally changed his voice the next episode for no reason?
Yep, for no reason. Yep. Chad is now Jameson Price, who we've talked about numerous times before.
But go ahead, bring up your Blaze Blue.
He's Tager! He's also in Levius, and Persona 5 is Coffee Dad.
And Dynasty Warriors.
Oh,
it's the guy you want to fight.
He's Leo Whitefang in Guilty Gear. See, had to do Arc System again. Yeah, I know.
You could have just done Guilty Gear with Sam over there if you wanted to.
You're right, I could have. Shit. But he voices someone really cool in Guilty Gear. I had to compare Maki to Steve Burnside, because those who know the Steve know what I'm talking about.
You're right. He kind doesn't deserve to be brought. What?
Okay. So yeah, Jameson Price would take over from Mark Warden here from this point forward. And to be honest, he actually does do a really good job impersonating him.
I mean, this first episode, you can tell he was still new to it, but later on, you can barely tell.
Yeah.
The first episode's the only one where it sounds a little rocky.
I do remember distinctly thinking, did Chad's voice actor change? And then the next episode being like, oh, they got the old guy back. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it takes a whole episode, and then he just has Chad down, and you can barely notice the difference if you're casual.
Yeah, so they're fighting Old Man Kun, who summons his doll, voiced by Patrick Seitz again. This isn't gonna get old. But his doll's a whale! And no, we're not talking about one of those whales. This isn't a Funimation dub.
Or a fish, or a whale. They...
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, they even made a joke where they couldn't tell what kind of thing it was. But I'm pretty sure it's a whale. It talks about devouring everything.
Yeah. Or you can call it a land shark. That's essentially what its abilities are.
It can teleport through surfaces by manipulating space, so it can come through ceilings, walls, as long as the surface is large enough.
But let's talk about what this fight in particular does. You're like, meanwhile, this happened in the manga. Let's insert it here.
Rangiku's on plateau. We finally know how it works. So what does Heineko do?
I mean, it turns into... I'm pretty sure Mr. Whale Captain over there called it ash?
Yeah.
Or dust, or whatever.
I think it's ash. Yeah, I think it is ash, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's really not used to its full potential there because the whale wants to eat it.
Yeah.
So
and the whale...
she's constantly switching from releasing it to calling it back.
Yep, and the whale, whenever anything it sucks up, ends up in an alternate dimension in its stomach. Where the Bount says they wait for the human to dissolve before eating it? So the Bount's a cannibal, I guess?
Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, it's... whatever. And hey! The whale eats Ururu.
Yeah, also, Rangiku has another... speaking of the manga, Rangiku displays another ability that's not explained here, but you know of if you caught up with the manga or have watched this before.
You mean how she can...
stand in the air?
Yeah, air walking is introduced here for the first time.
It's not explained at all. She's just shown doing it, and you're expected to take it without batting an eye.
Yeah, very early in the next arc, Rangiku does have some fight scenes, which I guess you could say is a minor spoiler, but it's where they got the took her Zanpakuto and airwalking thing from and just inserted it in this filler arc.
But sure, if you're gonna use her, take that. The airwalking thing, you could have at least explained it, because if you were going to take it, you know how it works at the very least.
She also acts very friendly with Chad, which maybe that means they got along in Soul Society before he went home? Because they act overly familiar.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Or they could have taken the character interactions from the manga currently and assumed that's how they were going to act from then on.
Yeah. So, the whale ate Ururu, and she's in the alternate dimension in its stomach, so the race against time to save her from that.
But hey, let's talk about a mod soul that's actually useful during this fight.
So Nova can manipulate space, so they have the brilliant idea of trapping the whale in his Nova's dimension. So they
and you can also sense when the whale's going to strike because you can control space.
Yeah.
And it just works that way. Shut up.
Yeah, so they tried capturing the whale to save Ururu, because if anything inside Nova's space they can control, or Nova can control, I guess.
Yeah.
Which they do trap the whale. It just doesn't work very well.
It just escapes.
Yeah. And now Nova is useless.
Boat.
Nova is now useless and can't do anything because he wasted all of his energy trying to contain the whale monster.
Yeah.
Which, isn't this when he links up with Rangiku so they can help sense where the whale is coming from?
Yeah. He leaves his...
Gigai
and goes into the Mantis.
Yeah, because it's explained as long as the pill isn't damaged, the mod still can't die. Even if their body's like head is cut off, they're fine.
Well, no, it's explained he went into the doll because he needed to be making contact the whole time with Rangiku for their plan to work. So it's easier to just have a doll hanging on your arm or leg or shoulder or what have you.
Yep. And so they use the ability to sense where the whale's coming from, and you get to see Chad deck a whale.
Right in the stomach.
And he also grabs the whale by the tail.
And gives it the old Super Mario 64.
It's really silly and over the top, but I kind of love it for that.
This is probably one of the better handled fights across this arc.
Yeah, I'd say the Koga fight worked fine, and this fight worked fine. Mabashi's could have worked, again, if tweaked slightly. For this little section. So yeah, Ururu's coughed up, and Sawatari and his doll are forced to retreat.
And now we're reaching the climax.
Oh, thank fuck. Okay. So, first, everyone retreats to recover while the lieutenants regroup, because during this fight, you might be wondering where Yumichika was this whole time. He was searching for the Bount's hideout. And it should be mentioned during one of these conversations with the meanwhiles of the Bounts, Maki over there is going, "At last, we Bounts will be able to achieve our goals." And it's like, you're not a fucking Bount, asshole. You're a Soul Reaper that defected.
You're just a yes man. You're an errand boy. None of the Bounts take you seriously. And when stuff Riche over there doesn't take you seriously, you know you're a fucking joke.
Yeah. So, the lieutenant's
my fight got cocked from me.
Yeah, she's even like, Mabashi, if you ever do that again, and Mabashi kept calling her an ugly old lady. Yeah, he just kept treating her like shit. It was kind of funny. Because that Bount is a joke. We can't stress that enough. So, yeah, the lieutenants meet up at the Bount's hideout and infiltrate it, while everyone else is being treated for their injuries. Yeah. Renji's being healed by Hanataro, who was grabbed from work by Tessai.
And then he enters serious mode and gets down to the healing. Duh, really?
Yeah, Hanatro's not fucking around. It's Spike Spencer here, man.
He's the white mage. He's gonna act like it.
Well, approaching endgame on this little section. So the lieutenants go in with Yumichika, who's not a lieutenant, by the way, despite what this arc wants to tell you.
Yeah.
And the Kirk Thornton Bount Akuki finally gets to do something and summons his doll. It's a gazelle. No, that's literally its name is Gazelle.
It's a gazelle.
Who uses shadows? It's a shadow monster, basically, I guess, isn't it?
Shadows and a map and a playing card. He's like a dungeon master, except in a way.
It's honestly really cool. That's the sad part. It's a really unique thing.
But that's right. They get attacked by shadows from Shadow the Hedgehog.
What?
What?
Wait, are you saying it's... Oh, Kirk Thor, I get... Wow. Wow, that was really on the nose. Oh, you should be slapped for that. Yeah, so... Gazelle's apparently a badass doll because it takes down all four of them.
But only temporarily. They all...
Yeah, obviously they're not dead. It's a filler arc. You know they're not going to die, but still, like...
Yeah. So this is the only kind of semi-loss that Izuru incurs.
Yeah, so Ichigo, Renji, Ruki, and Chad Norihime all go to the Bount's hideout in pursuit of them. And of course, Urahara has one more heart-to-heart with Ichigo. You think you can win without your Bankai? Oh no, I'm going to try though. I know you said I relied on it too much.
In what universe? Maybe in my version of the fucking mod Soul arc.
Yeah, so they go to the hideout and now they get to take on a gazelle. And meanwhile, during this, Mayuri's having a conversation with Nemu, how he wants to get a Bount of his very own to experiment on them. So he gives Nemu a Quincy artifact to take to Uryu to give Uryu his powers back. You'll understand why this makes sense soon.
No, it's established that they need a Quincy to open the gate at this point.
Yeah.
To Waco Mundo, totally.
Yep. So Nemu's off to have a heart-to-heart with Uryu. I'm surprised people don't ship these two and how much they interact. In fact, she even saved his life from the poison earlier. What?
Yeah. No, his ship is Shinobu, because you gotta do the love Hina.
Naru? Wrong character.
Yeah.
You really fucked that up.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Or Yoshino. Yeah. We've been streaming for fucking... We've been streaming for almost 2 hours now, man. Come on.
Because we have so much to cover. Okay, so... Yeah, Ichigo and them take on the Shadow Monster. But the lieutenants come in and are still okay, and they help out.
And Wabisuke does the Wabisuke thing.
Yep, Izuru explains how Wabisuke works again. Man, twice in a few episodes. And he's able to make the Gazelle arm weigh like 5 million pounds, so it's forced to retreat. Oh. And also that boy that Renji was trying to save, he learns is severely injured and might not make it because half his soul is sucked out. While Keigo's alive, but either way, this means Renji is now super motivated and wants to kick the hell out of a Bount. So when they reach the Gazelle true form...
He whips out his snake.
Renji wants to fight him one-on-one. And Renji's
sword.
Yes. His snake. And he goes Bankai. Because unlike Ichigo, he doesn't rely on it, I guess. God, this plot point is so stupid.
It would only have worked in my version of events. The events where the mod souls don't exist.
Oh yeah. Renji is taking on the Agaki's doll, the Gazelle, while Agaki's like, you don't understand, we Bounts were persecuted and everything. Which, the only one we really saw that was persecuted a lot was Koga. I guess you could surmise the rest of them were, but...
I mean, Yoshino was just established that she watched as her village aged around her while she didn't.
Yeah, and that gave her creepy stares and stuff.
Yeah. She wasn't exactly persecuted to the extent that they were making Dick over there. I mean, Koga.
Dick at car. Yeah, and of course Agaki didn't get a backstory, and he's only had one fight so far. You all know what that means! Yeah, Renji gets a victory here, and Agaki loses control of his doll and because he's in a weakened state.
The wall he was watching them from crumbles, and his doll hugs him.
Yeah, and of course Cardi's like, well, you were useful, but I don't need you anymore.
Oh, well, you win some, you lose some. That was hilarious.
Yeah, and Agaki's even like, we Bounts can't even leave behind a legacy. It's like, that's a valid point. You guys can't reproduce. Why is Cardia so happy when you people die?
He's contradicting his motivations.
Okay. So, Renji, of course, is forced to be left behind because the wall collapsed. All the lieutenants are left back there. Chad, Orihime, and Rukia were forced to stay behind because they got injured. So now Ichigo's by himself with the rest of the Bounts that are standing in front of a Senkaimon or a portal.
Yep.
And yeah, Ichigo's fight against Cardia goes about as well as you'd expect it to, since he can't use Bankai.
Yep. Totally can't.
I love how, by the way, during this, Koga was the one holding the controls for the Senkaimon, and Maki's like, let me take over, Koga, and he's like, sure, just make sure you do it right.
Almost like he feels bad for him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you gotta do something, whatever. Yeah, and Cardia gives exposition on what the Bounts actually are. So, their plan is they're not going to Waco Mundo, because each goes like, you guys are to meet with Aizen, aren't you?
Who the fuck is Aizen?
We Bounts work alone, we don't know who that is. We Bounts are going to Soul Society to take our revenge. Which that was a question people were asking this whole arc. What motivation would they have to go to Waco Mundo? So you could say Cardia was lying the whole time.
To get stronger.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. That's the thing.
But it's Cardia. You've seen how he's acting. It makes sense for Cardia.
No, I'm talking about to become stronger. That wouldn't work to go to Waco Mundo. Since Soul Society's whole thing is Reishi, and that's what they absorb. Which they explain.
Yeah.
So you could chalk it up to Cardia lying if you want to everyone, I guess.
Maybe he was just gonna eat some hollows. Did you ever think of that?
Well, yeah, you find out that the Bounts were created as a mutative experiment gone awry in the Soul Society from research and development.
Yup, they were created by that man.
Yeah, you guys will see why that's silly next time. But for now, the Bounts, of course, were already very limited in number. But Soul Society hunted them down because their experiment was a failure. And drove them almost to extinction.
Yup, Soul Society hunted them down. Not the Quincy's who we seen hunting them down.
Well, the Quincy's didn't hunt them down. The Bounts did. The Bounts were looking for the Quincy's because very few number of Quincy have the ability to manipulate Reishi in a way to open up a Senkaimon. Which is why during that flashback where we saw that Mayuri was showing them, they were only targeting one Quincy. Because he was the only one in that group that could do it. Because they wanted to go to Soul Society and take revengeance.
Some of the Quincy's were shown using crossbows.
Yeah, and old style bows in that footage. Yeah.
It's like, man, guys, you really need to lay off the bows.
Well, speaking of Quincy's that can conveniently do this, Uryu puts on a sexy bracelet. And
surprise, Power's back.
Yep, because we gotta have Uryu do something this arc. Meanwhile, Ichigo's about to be killed by Cardia, and Cardia's like, I'm gonna kill you with your Zanpakuto. And Ichigo's like, bitch, please, I'm gonna have a heart-to-heart with Zangetsu.
Zangetsu, what the fuck? What are you doing in his hands?
Zangetsu, why are you about? Also, you're doing the same voice, and Koga just talked a couple of minutes ago.
I lost a bet.
Okay, so Ichigo's like, please allow me to fight with you one last time. Because I told you he'd say that again. Yep, so that during the
Should we have a counter for this?
Well, Ichigo goes Bankai, and now has super sexy speed.
Average speed.
And him and Cardia have a good fuck. Before Uryu interrupts the fight, Uryu then shoots an arrow into the Senkaimon, activating it.
Yeah.
Cardia thanks him, saying, I knew you'd come to our side, Quincy man. And Uryu's like, bitch, please, I want revenge. You killed my ship, Yoshino. Or Naru from Love Hina, not Shinobu.
Shut up. And no one likes to be cocked by having their ship killed.
So, Cardia needed that. It's explained that the Bounts can't convert their body into Reishi as easily without a Quincy using that arrow, because they're not Soul Reapers.
Because it takes one arrow, and then, they can do that now.
Yeah, it's a finicky
it would have been way
explanation,
more sense if it was continuous shots of arrows or something, but...
Well, no, because the one arrow basically converts the Senkaimon into the gateway that would convert that the Bounts could walk through.
What I'm getting at is, you'd think it would take more than one arrow.
Oh, well, doesn't matter.
One singular arrow, fired at average strength.
Well, Cardia and his Bount friends, which, yeah, it's Cardia, Koga, Stephanie Shea, useless one, Mabushi, and Maki. They're the only ones left. Oh, an old man, Sawatari. The guy behind him. Okay.
Yeah. You forgot the whale of a good time?
Yeah, so they go in the Soul Society now.
They're flying through Soul Society.
The Senkaimon closes. Well, everyone else arrives, including Yoruichi, explaining that Uryu, you think that because you let them in the Soul Society, that you could settle it on your terms because Quincy's are stronger there with the whole Reishi thing? You fool! Bounce gets stronger too!
You fool! Quincy's are also Bounce, I guess. I mean, they're the other side of the coin. They can do it too.
Yep. And Rangiku shows up and talks to Hitsugaya, giving them clearance to go to Soul Society so Ichigo and friends can go. And unfortunately, Lirin says the monsters are going too. Yay! I'm so happy!
We can track them down. I'm sure they're gonna amount to a lot. Spoilers, they don't.
They might, honestly. I honestly don't remember. We'll find out, I guess.
I'm gonna say they don't.
Okay,
Prove
so...
me wrong.
I should also mention one last thing before we get to the final thoughts on this little section. Jinta wasn't Cindy Robinson for one episode of this arc. It was Wendy Lee. Again. I don't understand why. And it was the episode where Jinta and Renji had a bromance moment, I guess.
Yeah, he's all soon for Renji.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as less stupid if, I don't know, Jinta didn't talk right after Ururu. In fact, you even have Wendy Lee interrupting Wendy Lee during that scene.
Gotta love California dubs.
Okay, so... as far as other silly dubisms... you get Keigo making a lot of gay jokes towards Ichigo and Chad at the start of this arc.
Yosuke?
I mean, it wasn't done out of malice. He was just doing it because he was jealous that they had love, because he wants love. And they leave him out of everything. You also get Ichigo during the, episode where there's an imposter, yelling at Renji to take it off, talking about his gi guy, but when they're alone in a room together and he's yelling that at him, and you just have other people outside, what is going on in that room? Didn't one of them even say, forbidden love? Because the lie is that Ichigo and Renji are siblings. So it's like, what the fuck?
Which, honestly, with Renji's personality, fits way too well. And his red hair, too, I guess.
I guess we should also mention the teacher at their school is also Dorothy Fawn. Who gives Ichigo detention, and Renji laughs at him, and Ichigo's like, what are you laughing at? You got detention, too? And Renji just laughs and goes, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like Renji.
But yeah, okay. So final thoughts on this part. Fuck, people say this arc feels a little too long. Honestly, it's not the Bound arc itself that's too long. It's the Mod Soul arc, and then the couple of filler episodes that are within a filler arc. If you cut those out, I think this arc would be fine.
And if you're gonna have a nothing Bound like the Stephanie Shea one, just omit them. We don't need another Bound.
Yeah, or give her something. It's obvious she's going to have a major fight in the next set of episodes, so...
Also, yeah, I mentioned Rukia being released from her Gigai. It never happens again this arc.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're going to Soul Society, so
Yeah.
she shouldn't be in her Gigai then.
Will she ever Zanpakuto? Probably not.
We'll find
Even
out.
if it's just a sword, she'll just use Hado.
Or Kaido, according to Hitsugaya. Okay.
And man, does she spam the shit out of it.
Honestly, this arc does work in a lot of areas. Yeah, it suffers from writing as you go along syndrome, but it could have been so far a lot worse.
Honestly, one of the main things that drag it down is the nothing mod soul characters in the background doing commentary or comedic things during scenes where it shouldn't be.
These mod souls could have worked. Nova actually works.
Yeah, you know the fact that sometimes Cone comes across as more serious than the other two.
Yeah.
Cone.
And again, Kuroto, you can tell, is trying. Lirin, who also, again, has a very useful ability you figured they would go with, but no. It's like they couldn't figure out a way to write her
Lirin
this
is
arc.
highly intelligent.
Well, at least Julianne Taylor had fun voicing her, I guess. So good for her.
She was laughing it up.
Oh yeah, the laughing. Yeah, she had fun with that too. Okay, so I guess ways to fix the mod soul arc.
Drop the mod soul arc.
All you have to do is just have Udahara say, "Oh, these are 3 extra mod souls that are made for Bount detectors." There, they're here. That trims 5 episodes down.
Drop the whole other stuff because that just came across as obnoxious, especially with the way it ended.
Again, it could have worked if handled a little better. If you wanted to have a mystery arc, which is clearly what they were going for, it was meant to be a pseudo cooldown arc. But the mod soul arc has way too many holes to poke through it.
Yeah. If you want to keep the stupid Bankai plotline, Hollow of the Week, him relying on Bankai to defeat the Hollow of the Week, it writes itself.
Yeah, and speaking of the Bankai thing, Ichigo, when he has his heart-to-heart with Zangetsu, makes a comment, "I know I've been relying on my Bankai a bit much." How? Again, and also, aren't you supposed to rely on your Bankai? It's your truest form, your most powerful state. You are encouraged to use it when the going gets tough.
Not many people, not many Soul Reapers have it because it's mostly exclusive to captains and lieutenants.
In fact, hardly any lieutenants even have it. The only one we've seen demonstrating with it is Renji.
And so, he just got it as recently as Ichigo.
So I don't understand. Again, all you have to do to tweak this plotline, if you don't want to do the Hollow of the Week thing and still keep it in, is Ichigo. You just got your Bankai. Last time you used it in Soul Society, it nearly crushed you under the weight of its power. You need to learn to control it, and you're in the world of the living, so it'll be harder to do so. Don't go into it recklessly. That's it. Done.
The reason the Hollow of the Week thing would work more is because I clearly needed a certain number of episodes because manga catch-up-itis.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that would work more.
And as far as this arc possibly going a lot worse, you might be able to chalk that up to Kubo having to approve of a lot of the stuff in this arc from what I was researching. Kubo was showing the storyboards for this and approved of a lot of them.
And did the character designs for the Bount, I guess?
Believe he did, from what I saw. That's alleged, though. I mean, hey, you made fun of Cardio's stupid tracksuit with a tie.
I think it's supposed to be a dress shirt, but the color scheme makes it come across as a track jacket.
But then he gets the trench coat treatment.
Which he wears over Truck jacket. I mean, dress shirt.
Yeah. Honestly, again, the Bounts are really cool in concept, the whole soul vampire thing, that are also somewhat rivals with the Quincy's. Or it's kind of side of the same coin thing. Although you could say the Bounce targeting the Quincy's in the past makes them look really stupid, because it could be like, hey, Soul Society hates you guys. They hate us too. Let's go hate Soul Society together.
No. That was before Soul Society hated the Quincy's.
Yeah, kind of contradicts shit that we find out later if that's the case. Anyway.
Which is what happens with writing as you go itis.
Well, I'm talking about shit later in the manga that Kubo was planning to do, but I guess the writers of the Bount arc, fairly so, not their fault on this one, didn't know what he was going to do.
But that's what a lot of the problems come up to. And the mod souls.
Okay. So, next, coming up is The Assault, which is the second portion of this arc. That's 92 to 109.
Because this arc wasn't long enough.
No, again, I still don't think it's terrible.
It's not terrible, but... Okay, let's be real. Because of those fillers, it does feel like it drags at point.
That's my point. You could cut the Monster arc, cut the one-off filler within the filler, cut off Ichigo's emo episode, and there you go. The arc would actually probably feel way better paced because of it, too.
Or shove in more, or instead of those episodes, replace those episodes with episodes focused on the Bounce, and them doing Bount stuff, coming for the bounty.
Honestly, that might have worked. Instead of the Mod Soul arc, have that one episode be the slice of life stuff when they first get home, and then let the next episode be them investigating the Bounce as we slowly get introduced to them.
Or if you want to introduce the Bounce more, have an episode focused entirely on the Bounce.
Which, I mean, they kind of started doing with that Koga episode.
Yeah. But Koga's special. He has Dolk. You don't fuck with Dolk unless you're Isuru.
Yeah. But hey, let's see if this arc can stick the landing. So far, it's alright. It's not terrible. It's obviously it had a tough act to follow with the Soul Society arc. I don't think any follow-up was going to be able to do that right away.
Which people still consider to this day one of the best arcs in Shonen, so...
The Bount arc was already fighting an uphill battle. So far, I think it's serviceable. Let's see if it can stick the landing. And you all know you can watch Bleach on basically anything at this point.
Well, at least till the end, you can watch till the end of all of the Bount arc on Netflix.
Then you gotta switch to Hulu, The Wise Wolf. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hey, let us know what you all thought of this arc. Did you know Kyle Aber actually loved voicing Ganju and Aizen, though? He said he couldn't have gotten two more opposite roles in a dub.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. Speaking of Troy Baker, before we head out, he and a lot of the other people on these interviews were bringing up something that you could just imagine that a lot of animes having trouble doing nowadays. Talking about localized anime. They said that their most important thing is when bringing an anime over here and translating it is keeping it true to what the Japanese original creators intended without altering it to the point of being stupid or censoring the script. Looking at you, funny.
That does sound pretty funny.
I mean, I guess you could say they also thanked everyone, saying it's all because of us fans.
Yeah. Troy Baker does love voicing in those animes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did make a comment about loving voicing in the anime industry or whatever.
Doesn't date that interview at all.
Well, anyways, guys, let us know what you all think of the Bount arc so far, and I don't know if you have any ideas that could tweak this to make this slightly better. Or, I don't know, maybe you're just skipping it because it's filler, which sadly you can't really do. It's referenced too much.
Especially Uryu. Oh man, does she reference it a lot.
Well,
He's in love with Naruto Yoshino.
oh, you got it right. Yeah, see, it's not Shinobu. But alright, guys. Thanks again for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed this, and I don't know.
The next part will be shorter, right?
It should be. We don't have to go over the voice actors, the way their dolls work, or... Yeah.
Yeah, you don't fuck with Dog. Remember
Dog
that.
will fuck you up, man. Molina as a doll will fuck you up.
A spider doll ball thing that makes its powers up as it goes along.
Well, yeah. Anyway, enough dragging this on. Thanks again for watching, and if you're watching this on YouTube land, sadly obligated to ask, please comment and all that stuff, guys. Really appreciate it. We know how evil YouTube is.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, thanks again. Till next time.